So hello guys, and today we'll be doing my NFL playoff predictions. So this 2024-2025 season, every week I've done my weekly NFL predictions. And last week I went 10-6. And my overall record is 189-78, which I think is pretty good. And my lock of the week, I started off pretty bad, but towards the end I got all most of them right. So out of my lock of the weeks, I went 13-5. So here are my final 2025 stats. And here's our playoff bracket. This playoffs are gonna be really fun. So let's get into the first game in the AFC Wild Card. So we have the Chargers taking on the Texans on Saturday afternoon. The Texans, whenever they make the playoffs, they always host the Wild Card game on Saturday afternoon. It's like a tradition. But speaking of the Texans, they've been really banged up. Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell being out. And the Texans are not very good right now. But the Chargers are kind of surging. They got their new coach, and they won 11 games. And I think that the Chargers are going to win this one 20-19. But the Texans could definitely win this. But they seem to get past the Chargers' great defense. Moving on to the Saturday night game, which is Steelers-Ravens. The Steelers started off 10-3, and many people thought that they'd be a true contender in the AFC, but with their really hard back half schedule, they ended 10-7 and lost the division to the Ravens, who, they haven't been the most consistent, but when they're good, they've been one of the best teams in the league at 12-5. And with Lamar in the MVP conversation and Derrick Henry being probably the second best running back, I think the Ravens' offense is just too much. I think it's going to be kind of a blowout. So I got the Ravens 31-16. So we have Broncos-Bills, which is Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, 1 o'clock. But we have this game, and the Broncos really surprised me this season. I thought they were going to be one of the worst, but with their surprisingly good defense and good offensive line, they've let Bo Nix be a pretty decent quarterback. And their coach, Sean Payton, has been awesome. They won 10 games, which they almost didn't make the playoffs. But when the Chiefs rested all their starters, they had an easy win. And for the Bills, they're one of the best teams in the league this year. Josh Allen is probably the MVP favorite. And this Bills offense has just been clicking. And I think that they're too much. So I got 35-24 Bills. But honestly, I think the Broncos are going to be in this game for most of it. I think this is going to be the best AFC Wild Card game. So moving on to the NFC Wild Card matchups, we have Vikings-Rams, and other than the Lions, the Rams are the only team the Vikings lost to. So that could happen again. And the Vikings, they've also surprised me a lot. They've been so good. Sam Darnold has been really good for most of the season, other than a couple games. And the Vikings, they're kind of a fluke 14-win team, but they're still definitely a contender. Actually, they're probably a contender, but they're pretty good. And the Rams, they've been playing pretty mid football, but they've got wins, and they won the divisional for the Seahawks, sadly. And the Rams, at home, this game on Monday Night Football, I'm barely picking the Vikings, but honestly, I could see the Rams win this one. But gave me the Vikings 28-26. So we have this game, which is actually a Week 1 game. And honestly, the Commanders being 12-5 is kind of crazy because the 1 seed in the NFC last year went 12-5. So now the 6 seed in the NFC this year is 12-5, which is kind of crazy to think about. But I think the Buccaneers are a harder of a team, and I really like them at home. And I think Baker is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And I think Jayden Daniels is great too. And I think he should win Offensive Rookie of the Year. But I don't know. I think this young Commanders team isn't going to be stellar in the playoffs. But I think this is going to be a close game. But I have the Bucs winning 30-27. So the last wildcard game is Packers-Eagles. And the Packers have kind of failed expectations towards the end, but they're still a great team, and I think that they could maybe win this one, but I think the Eagles are just the better team with Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts. A 14-win Eagles team at home in the playoffs is a really hard task to beat, and I think this is going to be a good game, but I think the Eagles win 27-21, but this might be the best wild card game. So if all of my predictions are right, then here's what our second round matchups would look like. So first, we have the AFC Divisional, where we have the Chargers Chiefs in a divisional matchup, and I already talked about the Chargers earlier. Justin Herbert, Ladd McConkey, J.K. Dobbins, they're all having breakout seasons. And for the Chiefs, they've won 15 games, but most of them have been pretty close and nail-biting wins. But I still think that I trust the Chiefs more than the Chargers. I think this is going to be a good game if it does happen. But I have the Chiefs winning 26-20 in a thriller. Now we have Ravens-Bills, which, two MVP favorites. This is going to be a stellar game for offense, and these two teams did play in Week 4, where the Ravens destroyed them 35-10, but that was a long time ago, and the Bills were off that week, and I still think that the Bills' offense, I think they're a little better, and I trust their defense more than the Ravens this season. So I think this is going to be a really good game, but I do have Buffalo winning 38-31. Which brings us to the NFC Divisional round, where we have Lions-Vikings for the third time this season. And, I love the Lions. I think they have such a balanced roster. And if Aiden Hutchinson didn't get injured, they might be even better of a team. They would be better of a team. But I think this Lions team is stingy. Their defense is really good. Their offense is steady. And the Vikings, I don't know how much I trust them. So I think this is going to be an easy win for the Lions, 38-22, to host the NFC Championship. Now we have Buccaneers-Eagles, and this actually happened earlier this year, which the Bucs kind of destroyed them, but that was before the Eagles really kind of locked in and were a contender. And I really think that the Eagles are just the better team. I think they have an overall better roster, and I think at home they're going to win this one, 32-24. But it wouldn't shock me if the Buccaneers won this, because I definitely think that they have the firepower too. So after our divisional games, here are the championship matchups. So in the AFC Championship, we'd have a classic game, Bills versus Chiefs, Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. This would be such a fun game. The offenses would be crazy. The storylines, will the Bills finally make a Super Bowl, or will Mahomes win the AFC again? And honestly, I think this is the Bills' year. I think they've been more of a steady team, and when these two teams played each other earlier this year, the Bills did win. But Mahomes always has Josh Allen's number in the playoffs. I think that's where it's going to change this year. Give me the Bills, 31-30, in a thrilling matchup. That brings us to the NFC Championship. So who will face off against the Bills? Eagles or Lions? I've gone back and forth, but I just trust the Lions way more. I think they are more consistent, better offensive line, but actually, it's really close. These are the two best offensive lines in the league. But I really like the Lions, and I think that they're going to win this one, 35-27. I think this is going to be a close game throughout, though. So, here is my Super Bowl matchup. Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans. This would be a crazy Super Bowl. These two teams played off a couple weeks ago, where it was an offensive shootout with the Bills winning 48-42. The storylines would be crazy because neither of these teams have ever won a Super Bowl. So whoever we win this would win their first. And this would be such a good matchup, and it's really close. But like I said, I really like the Lions. I think they're gonna win 34-30 in an offensive shootout. So the Lions win. And I think the Lions will win their first ever Super Bowl in franchise history. And I think the Super Bowl MVP is going to go to Jared Goff. So thank you guys so much for watching. Drop down below who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl. YouTube thinks you'll like this video and subscribe here. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.